Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie. I'm a 32-year-old mom to 3, a stay-at-home mom to 3, and I'm going to bring back to life my Real Talk Tuesday series. I've missed just word vomiting to my camera. So shout out to Daniela for inspiring me to make this video. I'm going to talk about my transitioning from 2 to 3 children. Years ago, I made a video talking about my transition from 1 to 2 kids. I will link that in the iCards if you care at all to see what that's about and how that went. So I'm gonna jump right into the topic here, down to the nitty gritty. I am a mom of 3. I am a stay-at-home mom of 3. I am a stay-at-home homeschooling mom of 3, mostly solo parent. Basically, I'm a 24/7, everything that comes under the title of mom, parent, everything. I am the chauffeur, I am the chef, I am the housekeeper, I am the concierge, I am the accountant, director of the chaos in my family in this house. And I want to preface that just because this is obviously just my experience so far, and I can't speak on anybody else's. Everybody's situation is perfectly curated to their experience and their situation. This just happens to be mine. And I think a big part of why my outlook on my transition and my life to a mom of 3 is how it is because of our life situation. So to start off with the initial transition, I gave birth to our 3rd baby, a baby girl, in November of 2023. At the time, my oldest would then have been 5, right? Oh my gosh, I can't believe, like, honestly, math. 6. He was 6. Oh, good Lord. This is what happens when you get old. He was 6, and my youngest was about to be 4. My youngest at the time, my now middle little guy. So my middle guy and our baby girl have a 2-year and 10-month age gap, so just shy of 3 years, and then you throw a newborn into the mix. So off the rip, the initial transition, I will say, for me was really kind of awesome. As from my perspective as mom, was really great. I felt like even throughout my whole pregnancy, I said to myself, like, my 3rd child, I feel like this was like my redemption child, and I mean that in the most positive and pleasant and loving way, that just, you have one child and everything is so scary and new and you don't know what you're doing and you're learning as you go, and like your poor first child is like always the guinea pig of your motherhood, right? Because like you're just learning as you're going together. And by the 2nd child, I swore that, you know, I had some experience under my belt, so I felt a little bit more confident, then quickly learned that every child is different. So everything that I learned from my 1st child did not really coordinate itself to be similar to my 2nd child, to which I was learning all new things. So by my 3rd, I felt like I had a pretty good idea at that point of just like, I've had 2, they were both similar in ways, they're both different in ways, so I learned different methods to just work through different parts of early motherhood and newbornhood and infanthood, having had children that were very different in those stages of life. And granted, a 3rd could be totally different from the first 2 entirely. However, I still felt as if I just had less anxieties over my abilities. Like, I really felt so confident. And that reigned true for me with my 3rd baby. She came into this world and I just felt so at home and knowledged and ready, and there were no anxieties or fears over my ability to parent her and my ability to make sure that I can get her through the newness of getting to know each other, and for her coming into the world and learning what life is outside of the comfort of my belly. So that really did reign true, and honestly for the first couple months that just felt true. Even no matter how many kids you have, when you bring a new baby into the world, your whole life is flipped upside down. Everything that was normal is no longer normal, and especially like at night and with sleeping and stuff like that. But even still, I just, seeing my 2, which also helped the transition be a lot lighter on me versus 0 to 1 and 1 to 2, was just knowing how fast time goes. So knowing that even the things that are hard in the moment and you feel like is never ending, you know ends, you know is temporary. So it actually was fairly easy just to live with that knowledge and to get through the bedtime scaries and what feels like gloom and doom, especially like at nighttime and things like that. that really helped me along, because instead of hating waking up in the middle of the night and it being like so hard on me, I was really just basking in knowing that this is so short-lived, and that every second that I have with her in these short seasons were just very, very special and to be cherished. However, I can say as well, with that kind of feeling and with even acting on those feelings, again, this was new for me because I didn't really feel this way from 1 to 2. I won't really get into how I felt that way. You can watch the video because it is very different, but I had my feelings going from 1 to 2 as far as guilt. This was a little different because rather than having the guilt of like, can I love another because I knew I could, and how can I share myself with another because I knew I could, I'd already gone through that. Now it was more of almost a guilt of realizing that, unbeknownst to me, I hadn't maybe really basked in and relished in all that came with the newness of a new baby with my first two, because it was very trying, it was very new to me, and it had its own craziness, it had its own trials and tribulations, but in a way where I was very humbled by the third, knowing that even through those trials and tribulations, it was so important just to relish in all of it. And I didn't really have that in my mind with my first two. I wasn't in a position mentally, chemically, physically, emotionally where I thought in that way. So it was a lot easier to feel that way the third time around, seeing my two being older. So there was that. Another thing I can add to that is just the age gaps during this transition. Now, like I said, my oldest was 6 and a half almost at the time. My middle one, my now middle one, was just shy of 4. My first experience of adding another baby was my oldest was only 2 and a half when my second one came into the world. So there's even a difference there as far as the reactions and just our day-to-day life with other children, because I can tell you, as you can imagine, a toddler and a newborn, it felt like a little bit less having a little bit of an older one. And mind you, my oldest is and always has been just like a little bit mature in ways in his behavior that I really appreciated, especially in a tough pregnancy, and then in bringing home a newborn baby, where I didn't feel like it was really crazy. And I also, for him especially, him understanding what was happening even a little bit more so than my 3-year-old, who still fully understood, who understood more maybe empathetically and just like emotionally what this meant for our family. He was a big help. He, you know, I exclusively breastfed, and he was a big help in, I would sit down and nurse the baby and he'd ask me if I need anything. If I had to hold her for whatever and he needed something, he completely understood if I couldn't get to him right away. So those things really helped as well, because that also helped to lift some guilt of maybe a separation between now your existing children before the newborn and now with the newborn needing more of your attention, because he could understand. And he also was a lot more involved, which was nice too. He really loved being involved and helping in whatever way he could. That was really, really sweet and special. And that was something that I didn't get to experience in the first 2 transitions of bringing babies into the world. So that was really great. And even as well as my, at the time, almost 4-year-old, he feeds off of his older brother pretty well with a lot of things in life, and that was something as well. He really understood. Again, this is not to boast at all. This is honestly just me being thankful to God that it was the situation that it was, because even my almost 4-year-old at the time was just very understanding. He was very mature about a lot of things that maybe the average 3-year-old wouldn't be. And I did just get I was very blessed in that way. So my kids honestly helped to make it so much easier. As well as, this was the first experience I had with having my husband home for an extended amount of time to help. When I first had our daughter, he stayed home for the first 5 weeks of her life. And I also did things a little differently, where I didn't leave my bed for the first 5 days after giving birth, which doesn't seem like a lot, but to go from the first 2 experiences I had bringing babies into the world and my ability to just kind of recoup and rehabilitate and recover was almost a little bit traumatic in a way. So this was very, very different. I had the help of my husband, and I just got to bask in newborn babyhood and new motherhood again with this new baby in ways that I didn't get to. And like literally, like I just got to be with baby, obviously unless I had to use the bathroom or shower. But I mean, I was fed, I didn't have to cook. I have a really amazing community of homeschool moms who did a meal train for me, was bringing dinners. We didn't have to cook for a while. My mother and my mother-in-law as well are amazing and always so helpful, and provided us with food and things like that. It was just overall really, really wonderful. And I can't just be grateful enough. And again, this is my own personal experience, and I do think that all of my factors obviously played a part in that. I had very understanding and empathetic and mature for their age children. I had a husband who had the ability to stay home and be around in the beginning and was really helpful. And I also had a village that is really necessary, I feel. I mean, the ones who don't, and you guys just do it, like, I give you nothing but respect and props. I could not have prayed for it to be any other way. But can we just let's talk about the transition from newbornhood to the present. So now my youngest, she is 16 months. My middle is 4. No, he's not. He's 5. Oh my gosh, it happens so fast. My middle one is now 5. And my oldest will be 8 in a few months here. And again, I still am very much mostly a solo parent. I homeschool. I'm with my kids 24/7. We do the things and whatever. And though I feel so blessed and I wouldn't have it any other way and I love my life, it does not come without its own trials and tribulations. And my youngest being 16 months, and obviously if you have kids, you know that between like 15 months and 2 years old is very exciting for them, and there's so much that they are just curious and adventurous and mischievous, and all of that comes with a lot of disarray. It comes with a lot of overstimulation, a lot of overwhelm, as well as having to then care for my other 2 who do still need me for obviously majority of things, and I am with them all the time. So I can say, however, I felt like this period with my first 2, when my second one was about her age and my oldest was only a couple years older than him, they could occupy each other really, really well. Just as they do now. They're each other's person. They're the best of friends. As much as they go through sibling rivalry on a daily basis as well, they really are each other's person. They love each other very much. And if they didn't have each other, I don't know honestly what they would do. But they were always like that. As my middle one was growing up and growing into this little playful guy, my oldest and him just clicked and hit it off and could occupy each other. So the transition at this point of toddlerhood now is very different than it was the first time I experienced having multiples with one going through toddlerhood. Truth be told, right now it is ghetto. It's rough out here in these streets. Having a little mischievous one and then having 2 that kind of want to do their own thing. There's a lot of times where, and I don't blame them, they want to kind of just be left alone by her and shut her out because she's in that destructive stage where it's like, oh, you built that, let me knock it down. Oh, you colored that, let me rip it up. You know, it's developmental, it's chemical. It's obviously nothing that like I can do or change. You redirect, and you know, that's a part of the learning, that she won't get to that point of having learned for a little while. So this portion of her life in our life is a little troublesome. It's a lot. But the transition, I remember in my pregnancy, and I still see it all the time now, and I'll repost it and I'll share it every single time I see it because it is so true, that 1 kid is 1 kid, 2 kids is 2 kids, and 3 kids is just 10 kids, and it's chaos and there's things everywhere. And I think that's why when people have more than 3, they think, how much crazier can it get? What's one more? I know for one, I'm done. I'm content with that. And again, as much as I love every facet of my life and every inch of these sweet little angel babies beings, I don't want any more crazy after this. I don't. It's a lot. It really is a lot. And I love it so much, but this will definitely be a period, and judge if you will, this will definitely a period I look back and remember so much of missing this time in their lives as mom. But there's also going to be plenty from this time right now that I say, I'm glad we're past that. We made it through. Hallelujah, praise Jesus, we're good, that part's gone. And that's just the reality of motherhood, honestly. I have no shame in saying that. So yeah, the transition in general is unique. And that's been my experience with going from 2 to 3 children. And it's only going to keep changing and growing as the kids do. So it's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's crazy, it's all the things. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you made it to the end, give me a pickle emoji in the comments if you've made it this far. Is it a pickle or is it a cucumber? Let me like actually say something you could do. If you made it to the end, go ahead and drop a cucumber emoji for no other reason except for I just can't think of any other one. There's like 1,700 of them. And let me know how you've transitioned from 1 to 2 and multiples, whatever. How are you doing in motherhood? How is it going? What are you looking forward to? What can't you wait to just be out of the shadows from? And let's have a conversation. Also, if you have any ideas of things that I can just chat about, experiences that maybe I could share from my own point of view. I do have a small list going of videos that I want to record to contribute to this series. I'm actually really excited to get back into it because honestly, just blabbing, because I'm just with children all day, to my very inanimate camera in front of me, feels good. I've missed this, so I'm excited to get back into it. Thank you so much for being here. Please give this video a thumbs up. Comment, share, whatever, any interaction on my videos is just immensely appreciated. And I hope you're all enjoying your day, night, afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are, and I will see you very soon in my next one. Bye.